Good morning, televiewers, and happy week starts from us at My Media Prime Television. You're on to your favorite bilingual program, The Brief, which is dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. So on today's edition of the program, the papers are telling us that the President of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, has left the country. He left Cameroon yesterday via the Simalen International Airport in Yaoundé for a private and a short stay in Europe, as per the communique which is being relayed by newspapers this morning, coming from the Minister Director of the Civil Cabinet at the Presidency of the Republic of Cameroon, Samuel Ayolo Vondo. Thank you for joining. Let's go find out what the French newspapers have for us this morning with Audrey Zatsa. Bonjour Audrey.
Bonjour à toi Lasha Kingsley, bonjour à vous fidèles téléspectateurs. C'est une nouvelle semaine qui débute et merci de nous retrouver pour débrief, votre émission particulière. Alors le déplacement du président de la République, son Excellence Paul Biya et Madame Chantal Biya vers l'extérieur, donc à l'Europe, meuble la presse ou alors le journal La Capitale Publique Cameroun Tribune, par lequel nous débutons l'exercice de ce matin. Le journal titre d'ailleurs à sa une que Paul Biya en Europe, comme le souligne notre confrère dans ses colonnes ce matin. Le chef de l'État et son épouse ont quitté Yaoundé hier en fin de matinée pour un court séjour privé en Europe. Le journal d'État revient dans ses pages 2 et 3 sur le contenu de ce voyage. Éco Matin nous conduit droit au Parlement. Après 30 jours de travail, députés et sénateurs réunis à Yaoundé dans le cadre de la session parlementaire du mois de juin se sont séparés. À leur actif, indique le journal, l'adoption de 7 projets de loi liés à la coopération économique, à la santé des populations et à la diplomatie, ainsi que la tenue d'une pléthore de séances plénières spéciales consacrées entre autres à l'accès à l'énergie électrique, aux parcelles de terre sécurisées, la vaccination anti-Covid-19, la protection des enfants, en particulier des filles, contre toute forme de violence. Cerise sur le gâteau, les débats d'orientation budgétaire a permis au gouvernement et au Parlement de s'accorder sur les choix économiques propriétaires pour la période 2022 à 2024. La rédaction de Éco Matin s'arrête sur quelques moments forts d'une session ordinaire, pas si ordinaire en tout cas. Toujours au Parlement et plus spécifiquement à l'Assemblée nationale, c'est le ministre des Postes et Télécommunications, Minette Libom-Liken, qui, selon le Messager, qui en parle, déclare la guerre à l'industrie camerounaise, Baba Danpoulo, en accusant la compagnie de téléphonie mobile dont il est actionnaire d'insolvabilité. De son côté, l'homme d'affaires crie à l'injustice et à la politique d'exclusion. La voix des jeunes par lequel nous terminons revient justement sur les mesures ou alors déplore le nombre de places devenues sur mesure dans les concours d'entrée dans les grandes écoles au Cameroun, selon ce qu'écrit notre confrère en kiosque. La série de décrets signés du ministre de l'Enseignement supérieur portant ouverture des concours d'entrée dans ces grandes inquiète la jeunesse, alors même que le pays enregistre un déficit de plus de 16 000 enseignants dans son système éducatif. C'est à lire en page 5 du journal d'Ibrahim Yiché. Voilà, mesdames, messieurs, pour les tabloïds en français. Place à toi, Lasha Kingsley, aux tabloïds en anglais.
Thank you, Audrey. Let's kickstart with Cameroon Insider this morning, which is dedicating its front page to President Paul Biya, who has left the country. According to the paper, President Paul Biya, or presidential couple abroad for brief private stay. The President of the Republic, Paul Biya, and wife Chantal Biya left the country yesterday for a private séjour in Europe. The first couple was seen off at the Yaoundé Simalen International Airport yesterday by a delegation of the topmost personalities of the nation. More details about the visit visit, the private stay of President Paul Biya in Europe, only in this edition of Cameroon Insider newspaper. And the media newspaper is also interested in the private stay of President Paul Biya abroad. The paper writes that Paul and Chantal go for a short private stay in Europe. The presidential couple left the Yaoundé Simale International Airport yesterday, as relayed by the communique coming from the Minister Director of Civil Cabinet at the Presidency of the Republic of Cameroon, Samuel Mvondo Ayolo. Let's take you to the Entrepreneur newspaper, which is suggesting this morning that for employment deficit or unemployment deficit to be reduced in the country, self-initiative is the only way out. You can get more details about the proposal of the Entrepreneur newspaper of Swaibu Tria this morning, only in this edition of the paper, talking about ways of curbing unemployment deficit in the country. Let's take you to the Guardian Post newspaper. The Loon English Daily is interested in the visit of President Paul Biya to Europe. After over 20 months at home, the paper writes, Biya beats COVID-19 scare, takes up to Europe. President Paul Biya and wife Chantal Biya left the country yesterday via the Simale International Airport in Yaoundé. Let's talk about another traditional ruler that has been killed in the restive regions of the country. This time around, we are talking about the traditional ruler who died in amber captivity in the northwest region of Cameroon. The traditional ruler of Bafukum village, one of the villages that make up Tuba subdivision in Mezan division of the northwest region of Cameroon, who goes by a name von Cho Peter, was reportedly dead or died in amber captivity recently. We are told by the paper that the lifeless body of the traditional ruler was on Thursday, July 8, found near the village fish pond, allegedly having been dumped there by the Ambazonia fighters. Let's take you to the Post newspaper. The Post this morning is looking beyond much publicized 48 hours production time frame meant for the new biometric passports in the country. The paper writes that Cameroon overtakes most African Western countries in unjustified passport cost. The paper is questioning if the 48 hours deadline will not crumble like formerly publicized 2 weeks scam that was initially put in place by the Delegation for National Security of Cameroon when it comes to issuance of passports in the country. Let's talk about this revelation that was made recently. We are told that shisha contains over 27 cancerous elements. Tobacco control experts have revealed, according to the paper. Experts of the Cameroon Coalition for Tobacco, C3T, have revealed that the consumption of tobacco products mixed with other hard liquors called shisha through a water pipe of various size contains at least 27 substances that cause cancer in human beings. The paper goes ahead to say the communication officer and the administrative assistant of C3T, Prince Mpondo and Judith Chemuko, respectively, made the revelation at a press conference in Yaoundé on July 6, 2021. C32 is a network of civil society organizations advocating, amongst others, for the adoption and promulgation of a national tobacco control law to protect Cameroonians from the dangerous activities of the tobacco industry in the country. Prince Pondo and Chemuko said, according to World Health Organization, shisha is smoked daily by more than 100 million persons, especially youths of 15 to 20 years. It generally contains 28% of tobacco products and associated with 70% of syrup liquids containing 50% of sugar, as well as aromas of different types of fruits to hide the pungent smell of tobacco that deceives its user that all is well. And the paper goes ahead to say 50 draws of shisha within 1 hour on the average are equivalent to smoking 2 packets of cigarettes. Thank you for watching, televiewers. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussions this morning. We are welcoming Diudone, who is an active young member of the Social Democratic Front Party, the SDF. Good morning, sir, and welcome once again. It's been long. It seems we'll have you.
Good morning, Mr. Kingsley, to your colleague journalist. Good morning to our televiewers. It's a wonderful privilege for me to be part of the My Media Prime family. I want to use this opportunity to thank you people for the great work you people are doing, for an objective communication to make sure that we put the lamp on the table so we can solve the problems of Cameroon. Once more, congratulations, and God bless your media house. And for greater heights, we pray and we support you to see that you keep the good work going.
Thank you for joining, sir. It's been long. So how is the SDF faring?
Well,
the chairman is in Europe. Pobia has joined him in Europe. How is the SDF faring?
All right. I will be 80. I will be 80 this year, and in the next convention of the SDF, I will not be putting my candidature as national chairman. I will be passing on command or power to the younger generation. Those are the words of the national chairman on the 11th of February 2021. So it is on that we are acting right now. And I must say that the SDF is fairly good. The SDF is struggling, and it's an opportunity for me to tell Cameroonians that the SDF is the only opposition parties of the 1990s that has been able to have a different presidential candidate apart from the founder. And these are things that are not easy within the context we know, struggling for a real democratic society. And at this point in time, the SDF is about to give birth to another newborn baby, which is another national chairman. And it's important, it's a period of labor. And all what we ask from Cameroonians
to see who would put forth the baby.
Yeah, the SDF is like a woman that has a bouncy baby that needs to come forth. And when that baby needs to come forth, there's labor. And what we ask of SDF militants is to commit themselves to the ideals of the SDF, pray for the SDF, pray for the national chairman, so that we make sure that this baby is born in good condition and safe to the glory of God, and all Cameroonians will have the cause to smile. That said, very briefly, I want to use this opportunity to thank Cameroonians, many of them that have been criticizing the SDF very objectively. Sometimes they have gone very radical. To say that the SDF is conscious that it has always been a source of hope for Cameroonians. And so, looking at the situation in which we find ourselves, the way this country has been governed, it is enough reason to at one point in time get Cameroonians radicalized, and we are taking our own responsibility in that to say that as a source of hope for the people, we appreciate this criticism. We do hope that it remains constructive, and we are telling the people once more that we'll be putting everything in place to make sure that we carry the responsibility on our shoulders, which is that of taking care of all Cameroonians, especially the Cameroonian of the Cameroonian of the lower class. So okay, their criticism should keep coming.
Okay, President Pobia left the country yesterday, as the papers are announcing, after the communique which was released by the Minister, Director of Civil Cabinet at the Presidency, Samuel Mvondo Ayulu, yesterday, announcing that President Pobia is leaving for Europe for a private stay. He left alongside the wife, Chantal Biya. What's your comment on this brief stay abroad by President Pobia after nearly 2 years spent home without traveling out of the country?
Well, I remember that the present situation in which we are, of crisis, especially in the northwest and southwest, and by extension to the rest of Cameroon, because there are crises everywhere. Concerning the northwest and southwest, it was after a summit abroad that President Pobia came back and made a declaration at the airport that made things escalate to where we are today, and we are wishing him well while he is abroad, hoping that by the time he is coming back, maybe at the airport or anywhere else, once he's back in the country, he is going to make declarations, he is going to take actions that will be bringing all positive forces together to make sure that
he's been taking some of those actions. The major national dialogue, which national chairman was there, and other, top party officials. So it's not as if he's not been taking or has not been taking actions to redress or address the situation.
Well, I maintain that President Paul Biya is the beneficiary of a special grace of God upon his life, and let him use that grace of God upon his life to do something remarkable for Cameroonians. That is what God is expecting of him. That said, the major national dialogue that you are talking about, it held within with the circumstances that the SDF taking part in this dialogue. We brought in some observations and some points that we thought that if we were taken into consideration, we were to have a successful dialogue. And most of these observations and proposals that were brought up were also held by many international organizations and many other political associations and even of the civil society. These recommendations were never yielded to, and that national dialogue so far has proven that it is not a success, because what they call special status is not a special status. There is nothing that is special about the status. You saw how regional councils held, and regional councillors told you that they have no say in what is happening in the northwest and southwest, because even at the level of the regional council, at this point in time when they are supposed to be doing what they call parachèvement de la décentralisation, there is nothing going. They are telling them at the regional council that everything is decided in Yaoundé. So there is a sense in which we can say that the national dialogue has not met its demands. There is a sense in which we can say that it has failed.
Let's hope that President Paul Biya would say something while he's back in the country or at the airport, as you rightly said.
So, Minister Minette Likeng was in Parliament last week to answer questions of members of Parliament concerning telecommunication sector in the country, and she accused Nextel or Baba Danpolo's company of insolvency as a response to the member of Parliament's questions. What do you have to say about this?
Well, before I come back to that precise question in Parliament, I must say that the Cameroon Parliament has been holding sessions at a very critical moment, but they have missed the opportunity to be able to talk about the so-called Anglophone problem. There is another problem that the Cameroonian Parliament, the Cameroonian authorities are to handle very seriously. It is an issue of the land law. Our land law is still governed by the 1974 ordinance, which is old and archaic. And there is the problem of this drug issue that my brother is raising. Parliament needs to entertain that issue. Now, amongst other problems, coming back to what Madame Limbong Liken said, I think that if her observations are founded, she is part of the government. They should see what they can do to make sure that the unfortunate consequences of such a situation are limited, especially with respect to the common Cameroonian. So it doesn't end at the level of the words, but they need to do something to make sure that they correct it.
Accusing the only Cameroonian telecommunication company we have of insolvency, what
instead of standing
well,
this is not the first time. Sometimes back we heard that the PM was being accused of trying to side with the partners of the said company.
What
is happening? Is it that Dampolo is not lucky enough? Why is he not being treated like other big business tycoons in the neighboring countries like Nigeria? We have Tony, the guy of the UBA Bank, and Dangote. Why is he not being treated like those guys when they're in their own country? What's the problem?
I think that Haj Dampolo is closer to the CPDM than you and I. He's closer to the head of state than you and I. So the questions you are asking me, he's better placed to answer. But what you are seeing, the failure you are seeing today, is it is just an evidence of the bad governance that has polluted the whole Cameroonian system. We have so many companies that have been in trouble. You have Cameco.
That's a national.
You have Cameco. Cameco, you know what has been happening in Cameco. It is not going. We have failed in our strategy of industrialization. We have failed in our strategy of making ourselves autonomous economically. And who is supposed to do that? It is the government that is supposed to put in place a strategy to make sure that we get there. So,
okay,
if
talking
they
about,
are complaining
sorry,
about
I'll
that,
cut you since we are running out of.
Seconds,
Yes, talking about bad governance. Let's take l'Entrepreneur newspaper talking about deficit, unemployment deficit in the country.
So
what can we say really accounts for this?
30 seconds, please.
yeah, the unemployment deficit is because of one is the educational system, which does not create people, which does not educate people who can create jobs. Secondly, is the whole governance system. When you have a governance system that is corrupt, you know that those that are corrupt, those that are dictators, they don't like to govern in such a way that the common Cameroonian will be autonomous, because they know that when you are autonomous, you will be more critical in your reasoning. So they put in place every mechanism to make sure that a majority of Cameroonians remain in very difficult financial conditions so that they can keep taking advantage of that poverty. And my message to Cameroonians is that we will not wait until we get the economic autonomy. We know that they are taking that autonomy from us because they know that there is something we deserve, that we need to get it. We need to go for it. If we cannot go use a car to get there, we should crawl, we should walk to get there.
Okay.
That is a message.
Thank you so much for coming, Mr. Chief Diudone of the SCF party. You are an active member of the Social Democratic Front Party. It's been nice having you on set today. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you so much, and dear Cameroonian youths, the doors of the SDF are opened. The national chairman is already 80, and we are wishing him once more a happy birthday. And we are calling on you Cameroonian youths to come into the SDF. Let us take that power that he is giving back to the next generation, the younger generation, which we are. The time is now.
Let's talk about something else. This time around, we are bringing in our Northwest regional correspondent, Charles Kebwa, who is, of course, was awarded over the weekend in Bafoussam, chief town of the west region of the country, as the best journalist in conflict reporting, peace journalist in the northwest region of the country. Charles Kebwa was awarded in the west region, like I earlier mentioned. Good morning, Charles Kebwa, and thank you for joining us. Congratulations, eh?
We thank God. We thank all what we're doing. Once it's ground zero, here we are. It's a pleasure, and I want to say good morning to all Cameroonians following us live from
Can you lift it up a bit?
Pour soulever un petit peu
so
pour que les téléspectateurs puissent voir qu'il y a... Voilà, félicitations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Charles.
Thank you. We thank God. We thank God.
Wish you many more awards ahead as you go about, carrying out your duties up there. We know the terrain is very difficult. It's not easy up there in the northwest region of the country. We want to say congratulations, and to many others who were equally, awarded over the weekend in Bafoussam, chief town of the west region of the country, Audrey.
Exactement, Lasha Kingsley, j'ai envie de préciser une fois de plus que ce n'est jamais facile de ce côté-là, dans le nord-ouest, où il y a où il y a la crise encore qui sévit, en tout cas dans ces régions-là. Donc Charles Kebwa a été capable, durant toutes ces années, de nous apporter de meilleures informations de ce côté-là. Une fois de plus, Charles Kebwa, félicitations. On espère que vous reviendrez avec beaucoup plus de awards pour la maison, surtout.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, sir. Maybe a word to the televiewers before you leave. We are gradually coming to the end of the program.
Yeah, just to say it's worth to say thank you, Lord, and actually to say thank you to the Watchdog Tribune group, for this wonderful initiative, this wonderful present, this wonderful award. I want to say, Mr. Dr. Ezeke, you're wonderful, and with your team. I want to say thank you very much also to Madame Bassam and, to all those that have been doing everything to ensure that peace journalism, peace as peace setters, we are today talking about peace. I'm coming from ground zero and talking live from Fengudong Bange. And all what we have been going through in the past, I myself was surprised when I was called up for this award, to be the peace reporter. And I've taken that challenge, honestly, to say I will maintain that word and I will do everything to back the watchdog in every aspect to ensure that peace returned to the Northwest region. Well, over the weekend in Bafoussam, what was all of it? It was, you know, to be with peace setters, to be with those who are national heroes and heroines. It was all what was crowned there, and it is exactly what the city mayor for, you know, the West region himself, who was actually like the chairman and equally the presiding officer of this award, said that he had been in Misaje before becoming the city mayor, and him also as one of the laureates, and like other many Cameroonians like Barrister Tumfo Nico Ale, who was also one of these persons and had been preaching peace. Today I join the rank of those who will be preaching peace to say,
Charles.
we are all for peace and we need peace.
Thank you so much for coming. Televiewers, on that note that we end today's edition of the program, which was of course produced by Christain Tebong. For presentation, we were Audrey, Zatsa, and myself, Lasha. See you tomorrow for yet another edition of What the Papers Must Have Said. Bye-bye.
My Media Prime TV, the African Eye.